All right, before we get into it today, just want to give a shout out to all the listeners and even more of a bigger double duty shout out to all the Patreon subscribers. What is Patreon, you may ask? Patreon is a way for you to financially support the show. So if you are interested, if you really dig the content, dig the show that we're doing here, you can go to patreon.com/bigtruth and sign up. I think there's a free option. It seems like there's a free option but you won't see everything that the paid subscribers see. And, there's access to different discounts. You get the shows early. I'm trying to do some more exclusive content just for the Patreon subscribers. We got some things going on. I do a lot of giveaways and stuff behind the scenes. So go to patreon.com/bigtruth and check it out. Now, if you are in the unfortunate situation of being in a motorcycle accident and you are on the Massachusetts side of things, this is only for Massachusetts people, you need to check out Glassman Injury Attorneys, or you got to get Glassman, right? These are the top dogs for motorcycle accidents. Now, you know that I'm an avid motorcycle rider, and I wouldn't put my name behind any schmuck. My boy works there. It's been there for a while, and it's my boy that's for like decades we've been friends. So like, I know these dudes are 100% legit. So you got to get Glassman on your case. Now you have 3 years to, so even if you were in an accident a couple years ago, I didn't know that. Like, it's crazy. Like, and I'm sorry, I'm doing this all stream of thought. Like, there's no written things here. But you have 3 years to file a claim if someone hit you. So even if you were like rear-ended a couple years ago, get Glassman on it. If you got an attorney that ain't doing the job, get Glassman on it. And the easiest thing in the world to remember is Glassman's number, 617-777-7777. All right? 617, the Boston area code, all sevens. If you want me to say the whole thing again, because you have a little bit of traumatic injury from the thing, I kid. 617-777-7777. Get Glassman on it. Dude's a bulldog. He's going to get you what you deserve. And I ain't about no false, like frivolous lawsuits. Like some motherfucker rear ends you or runs you off the road and you get fucked up. Get Glassman on it. That's the dude. All right. Now say you are in need of some artwork. You have very boring walls, or you got a space, or you punched a hole in the wall and you want to cover it up, right? And you don't know where to go because there's all kinds of, it's overwhelming out there, and there's a lot of bullshit out there. You want something cool. You don't know exactly what you're looking for. Or even more relevant, if you go to a tattoo shop and you need flash, you need to go to tattooflashcollective.com. So they got everything you need. They got tattoo flash. They got art prints in all different sizes. So you need big, huge poster, or a little postcard size, or tattoo flash size, anything. They got it. So check it out. And they work with all legit tattoo artists from around the world, and it's a tattoo art company that is owned by artists, operated by artists, for artists, and for people who are aficionados of tattoo art and just cool art in general. So tattooflashcollective.com, they got what you need. So spruce up your garage, your tattoo shop, your house, your apartment, your cubicle at work, your workspace in general, your cell, padded or concrete. They got you. And if you use the promo code BigTruth at checkout, 10% off your order right off the rip. If you are a Patreon subscriber, you get 15% off your order. I can't give you that code, though. You got to be a Patreon subscriber to get that code. So sign up at patreon.com, buy a shit ton of art at tattooflashcollective.com, and your Patreon subscription will pay for itself, right? Boom. All right. If you are into motorcycles and punk rock, hardcore, weird shit, come to my shop, Chop Ahead Custom Cycles, located in the Bridgewater Triangle, right in the lower right-hand corner of the Bridgewater Triangle. So, some spooky shit might happen while you're here. We got a brand new shirt, support your local Get Down shop. If you know what that is, you know what that is. And so it's brand new on the website. So even if you can't make it out here, you can go to chopahead.com, which is spelled CHOPPAHEAD, the most masshole of ways. So CHOPPAHEAD, chopahead.com. And we got a whole thing of apparel. We got some parts online, riding gear, whatnot. But more importantly, we're a brick and mortar motorcycle shop, an actual motorcycle shop. We're not just some online distributors or like some dude operating out of a storage unit or his mother's basement selling other people's shit. We're like a full brick and mortar, full service motorcycle shop. So if you need an oil change for your bike or a full custom build, we do it. We work on any year Harley. We got a 1941 in the back. We got a 2024 in the front, and we do it all. So check it out. 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts. 508-995-6764 is the number. I don't have an IT department. I don't have a huge website with a million parts on it. But we're set up with everybody. So if you need a custom exhaust, or you want some Bassani 2-in-1 or whatever you need, Thunderheader, I can have it drop shipped right to you. Like I could probably have it to you in a couple days. Thunderheader I can't, because there's always a waiting list for that. But like anything that's in stock, I can have it for you in a couple days. So you give us a call here. We'll get you situated. Shoot us an email, chopperheadcustoms@gmail or truth@chopperhead.com. And you need something, you don't see it on the site, we got you. All right, come in. We got a parts counter. We got a area for you to try on helmets. And like I said, we're a Simpson dealer. We got Bell. We got Daytona. We got Biltwell. With all kinds of shit. So check us out, 13 County Road, East Freetown, Massachusetts, www.chopperhead.com. If you want more information on the podcast, go to bigtruthpodcast.com. And don't forget, check out the store. We got podcast apparel, and it's run by a merchandising company. So there's all kinds of stuff, dumb stuff, like all the standards. You want a crew neck, you want a hoodie, you want a t-shirt, you want a tank top, all that stuff's there. But there's also things like phone cases. If you want a flag, you can get a flag or a banner, all kinds of stuff. So check it out, bigtruth.com. bigtruthpodcast.com/store if you want to go to the store and get some merch. And I appreciate it very much. This is a super interesting and good episode today. My man Mike McColgan, who is the original singer of Dropkick Murphys and the vocalist of Street Dogs, and Johnny Rioux from the Bruisers, the Street Dogs, Defiant, and the whole Roger and the Murray and the Disasters, a whole litany of bands. These guys are on talking about, giving all kinds of information about the last couple years, and the end of Street Dogs a couple years ago, and the rebirth for these final shows coming up. So keep it locked. It's a good one.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Yes, once again, we have liftoff. I want to thank you for tuning into this episode of the Big Truth Podcast, and I'm stoked today. This is the first. I know we just started doing video a little while ago, but this is the first time I actually have two guests on remotely. I got Mike McColgan, who you may know as the frontman of the Street Dogs and formerly of Dropkick Murphys, and then no stranger to the show, I think making his third appearance, or fourth at this point, I don't even know, the infamous Johnny Rioux, also from Street Dogs and the Bruisers and the Defiant. These guys are long musical. We got a lot of Boston music history, Boston punk history in the house right now. And I think me and Mike are in Massachusetts, and Johnny's coming live from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Unless you moved on me and didn't tell me.
Yeah. Man, thanks for having us, Truth. Once again, thanks for the support.
Absolutely. And Mike is just off a trip from Ireland. We were catching up a little bit before we hit record here. Yeah, man. So fellas, what's happening? Out of the blue, started seeing Street Dogs dates. I didn't even know. I was stoked to see it. What's the story? You got a bunch of shows coming up.
I think the impetus to it was getting asked by Punk and Drublick to play July 31st. Sick of it all, couldn't do the show. And Lou Kohler, I think, has esophageal nodes, cancerous nodes, that he has to get removed. And we get a lot of history with Sick of It All. We toured with them in the United States, and we've been on like numerous festivals with those guys in Europe. So, I mean, we all stepped up around that and wanted to be involved and be able to like fill in for them. I mean, we would never fill their shoes, but to fill the gap for those guys is an honor.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's an honor of honors. You know, like people will throw those words around like, oh, it's an honor. But when it comes to Sick of It All, like they're one of the best, if not the best band in that genre. You know, those guys in Agnostic Front are the standard bearers, the Godfathers, and like, you know, the litmus test for any hardcore band.
And yeah, I mean, also, you know, Mike and I had gotten together back in, it was during Packers event. It was during the Hooligan Holiday in Boston. Mike and I had met up around that for coffee, and we've just kind of been talking ever since about things that we could do around our, you know, around the anniversary that we have coming up in 25 for our Back to the World record. And so we were talking about, you know, Mike was sort of filling me in on what he'd been up to in his life, and I've been filling him in on what was going on in my life. And it just, we kind of had enough of a break apart from one another to sort of come together as this idea, you know, around our 20th anniversary of Back to the World, and do a handful of shows and kind of give the proper send off to the Street Dogs that we wanted to give before. It just felt like we were ready to give it that send off now, and then we were planning stuff anyway for next year. But I think in the short term, you know, our booking agent said, "Hey, Sick of It All to pull off of this show. Would you guys have any interest in kind of jumping in there for him?" And we were like, you know, we just kind of asked everybody involved. Toby was involved in this as well, and Paul Rucker, our old drummer Paul Rucker, and so these guys were involved, and so we were asking them. They were totally down for it, so it was like, you know, we decided to do that, and then so once we booked that, we thought, well, it's kind of a shame to get together and just do this festival set, like, you know, we kind of want to do something more than that after all this time not playing music together and this and that. And then so I hit up Packer and I was like, Packer, you know, can we book a show as well? And he was like, yeah, let's book a show. So now we just dropped a show. We just announced that. I think when this.
Oh, we lost Johnny.
Come back, Johnny.
All right. Mike, you can take over for him until he gets back. We'll see what
he was about to say is when this podcast is, there'll be tickets on sale for a show Thursday, August 29th at the Middle East. I know the Pilfers are gonna be on the show. A band called the Rins are gonna be on the show, and our good friend Ryan Packer was gracious enough to like organize the show. And you know, festivals are great, and we're super, super grateful to be able to like fill in for Sick of It All. But one of the things about festivals, because there's a lot of bands, is that your set is limited, and that's understandable. I mean, you have to fit all the bands in, you have curfews and all of these things, and so I think the feeling was, well, you know, we could play a headlining show beforehand, you know, rehearse for about a week before we do that, you know, knock the dust off and retool everything, and we could play longer.
Sure.
You know, and I feel like if people want to see us and haven't seen us in a while, like playing that Middle East show gets us, we play a longer set.
Yeah.
And they would be able to hear more. Johnny's back.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know where I cut off.
Yeah.
He's back.
He's back, yeah. Yeah, Mike kind of wrapped up the thing about the Middle East show. Kind of the story with that. And where I know, because that's going to sell out quick, because Middle East, you know, has got a capacity that is a good punk rock capacity, but is going to sell out quick for you guys. Where will people be able to get tickets for that? Is there a link for that yet? If not yet, you know, what I'll do is I'll add it to the show notes as soon as it's available. But like,
yeah, you know what? That's probably a good thing. I could probably come up with that quick enough. I'm sure I'm sure Packer has that sorted out.
Yeah, or I can hit up Packer for it if the is there a date the tickets are going to go on sale?
I think they will be on sale. So this is dropping Wednesday. So I think they're on sale today, as of Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll get the link in advance and have it in the show notes. So if you're driving right now, you don't got to try and remember a big long link. Just check the show notes for this episode. And if for some reason if the link isn't available for Wednesday, I'll when it is available, I'll go back posthumously and add it into the show notes. So it'll be there as soon as that link is available. But I'll talk to Packer later tonight and try and get him to get that.
Another thing, Truth. And I don't want to like cut in or be rude.
Oh no, not at all. This is your episode, man. This is you guys. If I'm talking too much, just shut me the hell up. No one wants to hear from me.
I've gone to. I mean, all of us. Christ, all of us have gone to like list of Middle East shows. Seen a lot of great moments in that place.
Absolutely.
I think a lot. I think. With a lot of the shows there, if you go to the website, you can just like bang, you'll see tickets and then there'll be a list of things. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but my sense is that, at that website, you'd be able to like hit the tickets and you'd be in the mix, Yeah.
If you just Google Middle East Cambridge tickets, I'm sure that will provide you all the information you need to get to the tickets.
Correct.
But some people are lazy, so I'm going to make sure that the link is in the show notes for you guys anyway. But so yeah, I mean, it's been a while, and I know there's been a lot going on in everyone's lives. Like, and I know Johnny's like you've been touring a lot with Defiant and whatnot. And we've talked about that because I had you and you and Dickie on and stuff. And then how did that go? Like with that you just wrapped up a tour with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. Like how did that run go? And did it like what were your expectations going in and like versus how it actually went? Because I know it's a little bit of there's a little controversy around Defiant, right? Like you know what I mean. And there's a little people pop off pro and cons and whatnot. So like how did it go when you guys were actually out on the road?
Well, it's, one thing that we always tried to rise above any kind of like naysayer. We tried our best to like sort of not engage any sort of, because the thing is that Dickie and myself, especially, or I can only speak for myself really, but like I have the people know me, right? So like we have the reputation. So if you hear somebody say, Johnny's in an anti-vax band, or Johnny's is a conspiracy theory, or Johnny's a Trumper, or Johnny's a racist. I've heard so many things like that, but most of the people that know me and know who I am sort of know that is what it is, and it's a kind of a fool's errand to even try to chase that stuff down. So we didn't pay it any mind really. And it never even was an issue on the run. So we had nothing but everything was positive, and we just played the music and focused on the music and the unity and good times, and just sort of like you always do, and you find that you have more in common with people than not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, man. We had such a good time, and it was such there's just no negativity. We were all just grateful to be playing music,
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And it's like one thing, we don't got to dive into any of this. Like one thing I'm really fucking sick of is that if you disagree with somebody in the world, like automatically you're on some other team. Like,
right.
like, oh, like I don't agree with this policy. Oh, you must be a Trumper. Like, no, motherfucker. I'm just as fucking,
same guy.
I'm just as like heavy on him. You know what I mean? Like, nah, dude. Like, I say fuck them all for one, but that's neither here nor there. But it's just so ridiculous how juvenile people online want to get. But like you said, when you go out into the actual world, the world ain't operating like that. There's some loud voices on the internet that make it seem like way bigger of a deal than something really is. It's just, I don't know what it is, dude. It's weird times we're living in, man. Very polarized times. But like you said, once everyone's in the same room, everyone's in the same room having a good time.
It's a real struggle it's a real struggle to not allow it to, like, because the best thing you can do is not to participate in
Yeah.
it, right? So, like, you're not to participate in the he said, she said, the online banter, the this and that, because it's not anything real. Like,
Yeah.
I could spend the entirety of my existence arguing with people about things that I don't believe,
Yeah.
like things that I really do believe in, which is that, but nobody ever wants to talk to you about, what you do think or what you do feel. They want to talk to you about what you don't, and
Or they want to talk to you about what their perception of what you think is, which is different than what the reality of like, people react to headlines. They don't listen to like the whole nuance of the whole story. Like, they don't read the whole article. They read the first 3 lines and then make their opinion based on that. And it gets wild.
Yeah,
Man. Well,
yeah.
cool.
I will say.
I was at that one show and it was a fucking great time, dude. Like, you know what I mean? And like everything, like that whole room was just having a good time, like the whole night, every band.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it's about.
It is, man. And I think that that spirit is something that I really love about that band.
Yeah.
So
Cool. Yeah, man. And anything coming up with that before we go? I want to jump, I want to talk more about the street dog stuff, but like, let's wrap up.
The coolest thing for me is that Defiant was already going to be on that Brockton show, that No Effect show. So we were going to do it anyway. So when Sick of It All pulled out and our agent asked about submitting Street Dogs for it, it was like, oh man, I'm going to be there anyway. And
double duty.
It would be sick to be able to do that. So I don't know. I think, yeah, man, I'm stoked about it. I'm so stoked about it.
You're going to blow minds because they're going to be like, wait, that dude's in a union band and a anti-vax band? This dude, it made no sense. Oh, man. Well, I mean.
Although I was surprised at how many people that followed Street Dogs came out and saw us on that tour that we just did, with Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. It was super cool, and it felt great to see old Street Dog fans.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys did Street Dogs for so long, like and there's such a legacy and such like a fan base behind it. Like it's got to, like, what's it been like? Has this been the longest you guys have? I know you guys had some hiatuses before, but is this the longest hiatus you guys have had?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I don't know. I mean, I've listened to interviews of other bands and stuff, and not many bands like highlight the human toll this thing takes on you. I think we were touring legit from about 2004 or 5 onward.
Yeah.
And going pretty full steam. And we tried to shut it down, I want to say around 2013, and everybody, everybody was feeling the bite of this thing in different ways. And then we roll into 2020. We were about to do the farewell shows with Flog 'Em Out, and then COVID hits. So, I mean, we were like burnt to a crisp at that point too, like on a human level. And like, I'm in recovery from booze and drugs, and I've been sober from booze and drugs since about 1992. But I mean, my understanding of addiction through direct experience and therapy and meetings is that it isn't a 1 or 2 trick pony. It can manifest in other ways. It can manifest in gambling, shopping, technology, codependency, sex, and things like that. And that was something that happened to me, like on the road. I mean, I was promiscuous and made a lot of mistakes and was ignorant and just really selfish. You know what I mean? And when it all wound down, I had to take a hard look at that, and I went to refuge recovery to deal with that process addiction. I went into therapy. I actually went into McColgan's inpatient for 2 weeks and learned about like things like cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness-based therapy. I learned about trauma. I did EMDR. I learned about like some of my background, like being a first responder in the military and stuff, and how that affected me in a bunch of different ways. I learned about like health education in all ways and forms. Because when I went to school, I didn't get any like sex ed or anything like that. Like, what we learned about on the street was just, I guess through maybe, dirty magazines and word of mouth. You know what I mean? And so in that setting, I was able to learn things, and I really realized how selfish in a lot of ways I was at times. And, I have like a lot of healthy regret about that now that informs my behavior now. Like I live clean, skillfully, and ethically in all my affairs. And like, I don't take residence in the past, but I can reference the past in a healthy way to be like, I can't be that way. I have to, one of the last relationships I was in, I was completely monogamous the entire time. And now I'm living skillfully, and I've been upfront with, the people I'm with now about everything that's gone on in my life. So the closets are empty, and I've done a lot of work around it. I'm not tooting my own horn because I owe a lot of apologies, and I have a lot of amends to make, and I'm willing to have those conversations, and then recovery has informed me that's possible. You know what I mean? To have a conversation where everybody's seen, heard, and feelings are valid, and it's not, people trying to vilify one another like in a combative way, just in maybe a supportive and therapeutic and kind way. So the break was really good for me, and I hate to say this because I know COVID caused widespread suffering and still does for many, but for me it was like a time for retooling and a reset, and I learned that in many different ways with recovery. It manifests in so many different ways, but we do change and we do recover, and we can do the work. And fortunately, what I do for a living, I'm able to help others, and I work as a counselor. And some of the experience I have from addiction and now being in recovery, and it's I'm able to help other people that are in difficult situations and need help, and I can take my experience, strength, and hope and help them out. So it's been a journey for me, and it's also taught me to stay in the present moment too. Like I've learned about mindfulness and not like living in the past or moving ahead to the future. I can just come back to the present moment, and I'm super, super grateful that what I get to do for a living, and that we can the band can reconvene and kind of fulfill a promise to do the farewell shows. Like we had farewell shows set up on that Flog and Molly run, and then we had some California shows set up too. And many people have referenced those shows.
Yeah.
And they want us to play at Alex's bar again. They were they really wanted to go to those shows. So I don't want to speak for Johnny, but intuitively my sense is he's in agreement with me that we got to like keep that word, do those shows, and this will be like this run of shows, like the couple shows we're doing this year, the Flog and Molly cruise, those makeup shows, some stuff in the summer in Europe, and then the final Rector Halls. That'll be it, and it'll be our final farewell. And I know me and Johnny are going to do other stuff musically too that he'll speak to and I'll speak to later on. So yeah.
So there's a few things there, like talking about the COVID times where things were shut down. I don't think we'll ever, or I hope we never see anything like that again, where people just have a year or two to like you like, I hope people made good use of that time, right? Like, because there was like, that's unprecedented ever in our lifetime, right? Where just people have like a year or two like off. Like, and I'm not saying off, but some people, you know what I mean? Obviously, first responders, you know, different people didn't have things off, but like that time where people had such a big chunk of time to do stuff with, like, you could either use that time wisely and creatively or constructively, or you could have just pissed it off and played Xbox, right? Like, you worked on yourself and you know, things that were a problem or problematic in your life. Do you think also part of like now is the time to do these shows because you're in a better place? Like would you have been able to do these shows before, or is it like, you know, like?
No, I feel that's a great question. It's formed up really good relative to what we just talked about. I feel like, you know, like where I was unskillful and out of pocket and really selfish and just an asshole. I'll lean right into it and put my shoulder into it. And I think doing that work and continuing to do that work, like, you know, now I see the benefit and being mindful of others and compassionate and kind towards others, even when others aren't necessarily completely truthful, and, you know, they may be like embellishing or making stuff up about you. I've had people that, you know, have wanted me to go fire and brimstone and nuclear on people, but I think it was Dharma and Buddhism that informed me to see people, hear people. People have feelings, all types of different feelings, and, you know, like, just hear and see people and have compassion and kindness and composure, equanimity. And I learned about like right speech. I learned about right intention, right concentration, right mindfulness, right livelihood. Like, I think the thing that I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous a long time ago, they used to beat this drum, and I know Johnny's familiar with AA. He's gone in the past. Is it's an inside job. They used to always beat that drum. This is an inside job, and it's progress, not perfection. Buddhism lays out an eightfold path and says this is a path that where you learn that, like, tending to your own like spiritual condition and living mindfully, and you learn that nothing externally will validate you. That chasing material stuff or no human, no shopping, no booze, no drugs. It's all a dead end road. And it's that it's becoming a friend to yourself and holding space for other people and having compassion and kindness and balance and just, you know, Johnny kind of, this is to dovetail on what Johnny talked about earlier, like, and I've seen the change in Johnny where in the past, both me and him in the past, we will, and I'm sure this could be true of you as well, is that we were taught to, you know, fist for fist, tap for tap, blow for blow, like all that stuff. And when you get older, and I learned this in Dharma, is that when you're always clashing, you're just perpetuating suffering. And in Buddhism, they call it samsara. And it's just, you know, the only thing that can dissolve animosity or anger or enmity is loving kindness. And that's, you know, just having positive regard and positive intention for all beings. And that's a tall order. And Buddhism says, you know, point blank, are you ready to handle that? It's a lot. It's a lot, especially with that prior conditioning of growing up. Like, when you get hit, you hit twice as hard, hit first. But
yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing about this whole Mike's whole journey with it. Because initially, it's like, I've known Mike for a long time, and initially when he came up with, like, in to sort of go on what, and I'm sure Mike would tell you the same thing about me. I'm sure he had a list about me and at various times of our friendship and us being in a band together. But man, he was insufferable at the end, you know, really living in a selfish way. You know what I mean? And And it wasn't the Mike that I knew. It wasn't the street dogs that I knew. And it's really the big impetus on like why I really wanted to break the band up in the first place. It's just Mike and I had grown into this place where it was like, I don't even know what we're doing and why we're doing it anymore or whatever. It was kind of a dark sort of, it didn't feel like our motives were in check or this or that. So then years go by and I hadn't really talked to Mike, and we would talk a little bit about certain little bits of street dog business, but we really stayed not, out of contact for most of that time. So when I first started hearing about the Dharma stuff and the Buddhist stuff, like I appreciated it because a lot of meditation, a lot of Buddhist stuff would, I don't know nearly, I'm not going to pretend that I would know what Mike is, but I know just in little bits of meditation have helped me out in really some pretty difficult times during COVID or whatever. And, but when I heard Mike talking about it, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking about Irish Catholic Mike that I know from the van or the bus or backstage, telling fart jokes and like talking shit to each other. And like, you know what I mean? Like this Mama Luke is telling me about Buddhism now. Like, is it,
He thinks he's the towny llama.
The towny llama.
I was like trying to make it possible. In my head, I was like, is this guy serious, right? Or is he putting on a show, or like, what the hell is he doing? But like, as I've talked to him and I've gotten to know him, like I've gotten to know this journey with him, I'm like, this is as genuine as it gets for the guy. Like he legitimately, like he had told me at one point, he's like, yeah, I think if I wasn't a father and, working for the city the way I am, I'd consider going into being a monk kind of.
Oh, without a doubt, I would. Without a doubt. And I want to kind of, if I don't want to interrupt you, John, but I want to kind of piggyback on that. It's like last year I traveled to Thailand with a meditation group, Sangha group community. And we were out there for 2 weeks, and I got to go to 3 different monasteries and sit with monastics. And, in the back 9 of my life, like I'm in it without a doubt. I'm 54 years old. I'm in the back 9 here. I think further on down the line, I wouldn't rule out becoming a monastic and taking robes, because I really feel that the Buddhist path, the Dharma, in the Thai forest lineage of Theravada Buddhism, more specifically the Dhamma, is the way out of suffering. And when you live skillfully and ethically, and you take these precepts and you take this eightfold path, and you learn to understand these 4 noble truths, and you just become more skillful, what happens is when you transmit that inward, inevitably you start to transmit that outward. And that's when you can extend kindness, compassion, equanimity, and appreciative joy to all beings, everybody, even people that, are speaking ill of you. You can have compassion and kindness towards them. And
Mike,
you realize that everybody on some level, all people want to be happy. Like I think that's the universal thing, is to have some ease, have some comfort, be able to have a living. And you start to realize that, and you have compassion for all beings. And this path helps you, like I said, you can take accountability for where you are unskillful and wrong, continue to make amends, and you can use like your experience with all this stuff to be more skillful in the present, and then help other people out too.
I wanted to ask something, and you've probably addressed this, but I want to ask it more direct because there might be more to it. You've done work on yourself in a very multifaceted way, through recovery, through therapy, and through engaging or getting involved in Buddhism. And I've talked to people in therapy before, or people in recovery before, but not a lot of people who've done kind of such a multifaceted approach. And so just out of personal curiosity, but also for potential help of anybody listening, because, all right, our audience is punk rock, hardcore people, motorcycle people, and then people that are just into weird shit. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that could use some direction here. How did those things work? Like, was Buddhism like a final piece that brought things together, or did these things work symbiotically together, like recovery and therapy and, getting into Buddhist thought? Did that like work like in a symbiotic type way, or were they ever at odds, or was there things to struggle with, or did it all kind of integrate together?
I think initially refuge recovery was the thing I was introduced to.
And can you just go over what refuge recovery is? Sure.
It's like a Buddhist-inspired recovery pathway that deals with process addictions, and it deals with substance abuse use disorder as well. And it was from going into refuge recovery and taking on that pathway to deal with the sex and codependency addiction that I got introduced to Dharma and Buddhist Sangha groups. And then I was encouraged by a teacher to seek therapy, to seek inpatient therapy and, get exposed to different modalities and different types of therapies to address things that I was in denial about. PTSD. I was in denial about stuff from the military, or having been a first responder and having worked as a first responder in different capacities. Like, I had this old salty, like towny, like toxic masculinity, like limited view that never served me or anybody else for that matter. That you suck it up and drive on and shut the fuck up. I maintained that for a long time. And it's unskillful. It's not tenable, and it only hurts you. And going into therapy, I learned all that stuff, and I learned that there's resiliency, strength, and health, and like a non-toxic strength in working on these things. You know what I mean? Like leaning into them and just having receptivity, open-mindedness, and holding space, to get better and be better. And then also to see and hear other people and just kind of, I learned from a teacher too, that in this world, that the only wise response to many things is compassion, because we are powerless over people, places, and things. That's just my own direct experience, and some different philosophies and 12-step programs and other recovery programs highlight that all the time. That the only thing that we have any real agency over is our own actions. And if we live skillfully, then, the people around us will feel that.
So what do you think got you, like, I know, and cause we all have friends that are like touring musicians. So like, and there's a lot of people that listen to this that are on the road. I know you guys mentioned that, like, just being on the bus, being in the van, touring so much, kind of led to, like, at the end, you didn't even know why you were doing it anymore, and you guys had changed as people. Like, what do you think it is about the road that, like, I know you had other factors going on, like with PTSD from military and first responder experience, but what do you think even got you guys, like, in that space, like that negative or like changed mental health space? And like, like knowing that now, like, how do you approach the road differently? Because that might help people that, what I mean, that we know that are tourers that might not even want to ask about any of this shit.
I want to give Johnny some time to address it too, because I know that he's been through a lot, and
yeah,
it wore on us all in different ways, but I feel like he's more like tool to take this one, on the outset.
Yeah, it's weird because when you're a band like the Street Dogs, it's like we were a band that, like, in many ways we had so much to be grateful for, like in the sense that, like, we got to play tons of amazing shows and tours and put out a bunch of records, and we accomplished a whole lot more than many bands wouldn't have. But on the other,
Probably a lot more than you even expected at the beginning.
yeah.
Right? Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
But also on the other hand, it's like you walk away from it going, been married 3 times. I have this much in debt. I like really, what did it really make me financially? Like it was a hustle every day. You're like, you can look at it in so many different ways. I missed so much of my kids growing up, spent I had my own issues with pharmaceuticals and stuff that sort of shaped how I would, view that whole thing in the
Sure.
years.
I remember the Sleepy Johnny days, man. You come a long way, dude. And
Definitely come
shout out to both of you guys for putting in the work and changing things around. But sorry, I didn't mean to derail it. But I just wanted to drop a Sleepy Johnny reference.
But it was, there was a lot of, there's a lot of things you do to just sort of skip the monotony of it. And then, also it's like I know for me, I really started resenting it to a certain degree. I started thinking about the debt that I had and how much I missed of my family and just all of the negative aspects of playing. And then on top of it, in my head, I was like, and now Mike's a fucking asshole. And,
was
happening and like that's happening. Like, what are we really doing? And it's all, dude, I might, the thing is that I'm a punk rock musician. So I'm not all there anyway. So my head starts spiraling into negativity very easily as it is. So like if there's a few bad things that are going on, I can really spin with it. Right. So it's like by the time the Street Dogs broke up, it was just, I think Mike and I always knew that, if we're starting to treat each other like siblings that are just bickering with each other, you know what I mean? And like, we're not going to do that type of thing. But at the same time, we have to respect each other enough to know that like, we're going to keep this going for each other, or not, or whatever, like it's, he can't do it without me. I can't do it without him kind of thing. And we had to be right with that. I think, we had to be in the right sort of headspace. And I was just convinced after meeting Mike in November, I was like, man, he's done a lot of work on himself. Some of it, I don't even know. Like, he's like, hey, let's write a song together. And it's like, the whole song is like Buddha stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is great. This is a great song that you just wrote. But like, are people kind of like the working class songs? Like maybe the Buddha song, and he's like, no, I get it. I understand what you're saying, like, and we were sort of back to what we were, it was cool. It was super cool. And to be honest, like I'd be stoked with a Buddha Street Dog song. I think it'd be awesome. But I was just kind of, we were giving each other shit about it. Like,
yeah.
What I mean, and
good natured ball buster. So now, having the time and for reflection, and you guys have like done some like work on yourself. Is this like, are these shows now like something that you're actually like amped about and like stoked and gonna do like proper send off? It's not like it's like the whole mindset like change now with that.
Yeah,
I think we feel it's like I feel like I'm friends with Johnny again.
Yeah.
And that's how this all started in the first place. It was like we were friends and we love a lot of similar music. And there was always like when we were together in a room making music, there was always a connection. That still exists. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Yeah.
And I'm eager to get back in the room and just have fun with my friends making music. And the intentionality is just to make people happy. You know, to be mindful of people and be kind to people. And, like, to me, like, kindness isn't a strategy. It's a way of life. It's not performative. Like I took precepts to walk this walk and live this path. And I really do believe karma is a real thing. And I've justifiably been punched in the face by it. And people who have called me to account and stuff like that, I have a lot of gratitude towards them in a lot of ways because they woke me the fuck up, and not all the stuff that people have said is true yet. I really feel grateful that I've woken up and I walk a different way today. And I can hold space for all people now. And that, like, it's like Johnny said, like, there's a 7-year-old, like, if I went back in the past 7 years ago, there's a version of me that would want to fist fight the version of me right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like I really have changed. And that's one other thing I've learned in this path is that all things are impermanent and that everything on, every level is changing, and nothing is permanent. And I feel like doing the good in front of me and, like tend to like my inner world and living like clean and good. It just feels good. It's good for my son. My son has a good example now. And like, I love and adore my son. And, like we had talked earlier before we got going about the Donegal trip I went to. I got to go back to my Nana's family in Carandana, Donegal, and I was with her nephew Seamus and Mary O'Doherty, and it was just as Irish as it sounds when I describe it. I mean, green rolling hills and beautiful sights and great food, and then they took us in like we were their own, and they were like, you can bring your son, you can bring your girlfriend, like you're one of us, and it just felt so good, you know what I mean? And that one of us feeling or sense that goes to me and Johnny and Toby and Paul, and then even Rioux was going to play with us. Like, I've never set foot in a room with Rioux, but I've watched the Disasters play, and like Rious's enthusiasm to play and his commitment and his work ethic, and I'm really, really excited for what's to come. And yeah, it really feels good. It feels like we're friends again.
Yeah.
It's the proper send off, I think, that the Street Dog should have done. You know what I mean? Like we weren't able to do because of COVID and everything that was happening around that. We weren't able to do the send off that we really wanted to do. So it's like, all right, now let's take this time to kind of do a handful of shows and really try to do the send off that we're doing. And the other thing too, honestly, like I'm a huge fan of Mike, and I guess we can't really say specifically where it's going to be or whatever, but Mike has entertained the idea of doing performing the Do or Die songs too.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that, and I'm pretty sure something's going to form up relatively soon. And I don't necessarily know that myself and Kenny or Matt or Rick would ever get a chance to do it. I mean, God, we're all getting up there now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and they're all busy. They got things going on and everything. And I kind of just want to stoke people out. I've had so many people like over the years ask me if I would ever, do something like that. And for a long time, I said no. And now I'm like, the intentionality behind it is just, let's just make people happy and have some fun. That's a great record.
Yeah, yeah.
And everybody that was on that record had a part to do with it. And I had a part to do with it too. And there was a certain spirit in that album that is powerful. It was potent. And
yeah,
I got to give a big tip of the hat to the Swingin' Utters too. Like, I just have to, because at the time when we made that album, those guys were it. Like, they were just rupturing every room they went into live. Their records, like The Streets of San Francisco, then Juvenile Product of the Working Class after that, and so many other records they've done. It's just that spirit has a lot to do with them. It has a lot to do with the Clash, Stiff Little Fingers,
Sure.
Champ 69, on and on it goes,
Yeah. So there's a hint that you guys might be doing some a tour, like some shows, or at least just performing the Do or Die record.
well,
Yeah.
Is that what we're hearing? Some kind of band piecing something together and doing that.
as a fan of Mike's, I think really excited for that, because
Nice.
I think I always loved it. I always loved that particular record, and the way Mike's approach was to that record, and I thought, man, that'd be cool to hear him do it front to back.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
It should be noted. It should also be noted too. A big debt of gratitude and like the engine room and the catalyst to how that record sounded and how we all approached it was Lars Frederiksen. He kicked our fucking asses. Like, he worked us so hard. And I'll give you one case in point. It was, and you can hear it in the song too. Like, I thought me and him were going to go at it after this. On this song, it was, I think it was Fight Starter Karaoke. And he thought my approach was less than good. And, he just said, I want you to go in there mad. I don't, you know what I mean? He uses a few choice words. And I was kind of mad at him. But he did his job. Because when I did that take, you can hear, like, he got what he wanted.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, years later, I can, like, in retrospect, I have a clearer lens on that. And I can see he pushed us all. He pushed Kenny, he pushed Rick, he pushed Matt. Like, he pushed Rick really hard. And Rick responded, and everybody responded. Everybody played out of their head on that record,
Yeah. Hence the name of the record, right? Do or Die, right?
Yeah, it really was in a lot of ways. It was like, this record's going to be good. We're going back to our day jobs.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think you guys said too, like, have you announced like the full lineup of people? Because I know the Street Dogs has had a litany of players over the years, like what the lineup of these shows are going to be. I know you said Toby's back.
Well, when we first sort of started when Mike and I first started talking about doing it, we thought we should get, if it's going to be, first of all, we thought let's get whoever wants to kind of be involved, but we thought let's get that sort of classic lineup going of, and the classic lineup of when we kind of got going was really like Paul Rucker, and that's really when we started headlining shows and doing just doing cool stuff and becoming the band that we ended up just becoming a good live band, and that was really with those guys. So we really wanted Marcus too on lead guitar, but really just couldn't get him, couldn't find him or whatever. We'll see. Maybe down the line one day we'll be able to do something with Marcus. But honestly, like I did the Disasters with Roger and Reese Kill, he was Roger, like in back in those days, like I was in New York and Roger was like, man, this guy moved here from New Zealand. He's working at the 99X at this clothing store and in New York, and let's go meet him. He's going to play guitar or whatever. But anyway, so fast forward, Reese ends up playing in Roger and the Disasters, and he was a hell of a guitar player. So, and stylistically, what Reese does and what Reese is doing is exactly what I always wanted from even the very early days of Street Dogs. I always wanted Reese to be in Street Dogs, but he just wasn't able to for whatever reason. So I'm just happy he was able to work out. Like, of course, we're going to miss Marcus, and I'm sure Lenny will be there to some degree. Hopefully he'll get up or whatever through it. Everyone who's been involved in it, we hope they're there. And
the door's always open to hop up there and grab a mic and sing in. And it's like, I feel like it's always been that way. Like, we knew, I think, when we started it wasn't going to be like the type of band like that has an original lineup forever. We knew that. I think we kind of intuitively knew, and then, like spoke to the fact that it would be interchangeable. So, thank you to Jeff Verna, Rob Godotti, Joe Soroyce, Matt Pruitt, Lenny Lashley. Even there's so many people. I'm probably even like Craig from Agnostic Front was gonna play the shows that got canned. in March of 2020. Thank you to him.
Yeah, and Gab.
Pete Sosa, thank you to him. Great guy, great person. Gavin Caswell, who's in Census Fail. Like, thank you to all of those guys. They're family. You know what I mean? It's there's nothing negative to say. Like, I don't have a negative word to say about anybody anymore because it's just, I kind of like, I want to be kind and I want to like speak the right way. And I know if I'm using wise speech, I'm not creating any bad karma for myself. And I have a lot of strong gratitude towards everybody who ever put blood, sweat, and tears up on that stage with us,
Absolutely.
Hey, Mike, get Packer into this Dharma thing. I feel like it could rub off on you.
Well, I will say, the other day, text when you called me Captain Dickface, I feel like, I was like, now might be the time to try to get him into Dharma or Refuge Recovery or AA. He knows I love that guy like a brother. And I mean, talk about a guy he's gotten up on stage with us many times too and played guitar and sang. The one thing a lot of people don't know about Packer, and he's probably gonna fucking kill me for saying this, but he can sing. He's got a good voice. I think he's kind of like a little ambivalent about it, and I don't know what, but he can actually sing pretty good. And he's gotten up there with us, and he's the guy's like a brother to us.
Yeah.
He's such a wonderful being. He's very salty, and he could use some therapy and some recovery pathways, and those doors are always open to him.
Yeah. Is he gonna TM those shows? Is he gonna TM those shows for you?
He's promoting the Middle
Boston
East
show,
one.
Yeah.
Sure, he'll be there with us too. It's hard to do Street Dogs without Packer.
Yeah.
He was such a part of it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the best things, truth, right? I know Johnny will remember this. Every morning, from the first fucking show he did with us to some of the last, he'd be like, I just want you guys to know this is going to be my last day. He would start every morning at morning coffee.
He wouldn't really say it exactly like that. He'd be like, this is my last day of working for you, blanks.
Yeah.
Would you have some unsavory words that he would use for? So.
God bless him.
Mike, you've talked a lot about your process and recovery and going down the path you've gone down. I know, like, I'd be remiss to bring this up because, like, I know there's like probably a little bit of shit flying about you guys playing again and whatnot, and I know you've probably gone through and made amends with people you got to, but there's going to be a lot of dumb people on the internet just having opinions and stuff. Do you have any words for like that? You know what I mean? Like people that might have something to say that might not even be involved in any situation or whatever, but it's something that's going to come up. So it's like, this is a channel, like a venue for you to be able to kind of address that stuff,
like I this is a great question. And I didn't feel like, talking about any of that was good if I hadn't put any work into recovery and changed.
Yeah.
I felt like that would have been hollow and kind of like superficial and just really empty, grandstanding and just smoke blowing.
Yeah.
I like, if you see me at any of these shows, I would talk with anybody. And I'm willing to make amends with anybody. And, my thing is like, I'm willing to hold space for people and have conversations, kind conversations. And I don't have anything bad to say about anybody, even people that have like not necessarily been, very truthful about me.
Sure.
But I've learned about karma that, and I've gotten punched in the face, and I said earlier, justifiably, and called out justifiably. Not everything that has been said is true, but it was a wake-up call.
Yeah, I think it's important, Mike, that you probably, emphatically say that you haven't done anything sort of illegal or.
Oh yeah, everything that I've ever done is consensual and all that. I mean, I've been unskillful with like social media, like communication and all that stuff and promiscuous and all that stuff, but I haven't done anything illegal.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
you know,
if you had done anything really raw and nasty, I wouldn't even have you on the show. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely, 100%. And you know, I don't need to make big protestations about that, or
yeah,
I feel like how I, you know, like I don't feel like I need to like go blow for blow with people like that. I feel like I just need to pray for them, meditate for them, and if I see them, you know, and then they want to speak to me, like I'd hold space for them.
yeah,
You know, that's the difference now. Like, is I think like the way I walk and the way I live runs completely contrary to how some people would portray me. You know what I mean? And living clean and living in Dharma and living sober is just a nice place to be. And I'm grateful that we get to play again. I'm grateful that we get to fill the gap for Sick of It All. And I'm grateful that we get to do like a final farewell, and the intentionality behind it is wholesome.
yeah.
And we just like friends want to have fun, and we want to play music again and stoke people out.
Yeah, you know, and I think even as friends and as a fan, I'm more stoked that you guys are doing it with this mindset than if you just threw some last shows together when everything was kind of a little more messy. You know what I mean? So I think people are going to be real appreciative of that. Wherever you guys play, like I know you guys got fan base all over the world. So I think that's going to be something that shows. It's going to make it even better shows for people. You know. You guys hinted around. Are you guys thinking of like recording anything new? Like I know you said you worked on the one song there. Is there any plans to do like an EP or something?
You know, we were talking about because we're going to re-release our Back to the World record.
Yeah. This is a big anniversary, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for the anniversary of that, and. So we were talking about doing something, and maybe if not as a 7-inch, at least maybe as a gift to our fans or whatever. You know what I mean? Just put a song out, record a song, just for the hell of it. You know, just
that's cool.
In memoriam of the band or whatever. But also we also want to put sort of all of the old stuff out too. You know, all the old demos and B-sides, and we want to put it all out there. It's just kind of. That's what we're going to do and really sort of see this thing off in style, you know, the way that we should have before, you know, COVID and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man. Anything else you guys got going on or want to talk about?
No, I'm really grateful that I did the first like bit of press or interview I've done in quite some time here, because I feel like knowing you as long as I have, like this is a true forum and this is us being true to our school.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys coming on, you know, and doors always open, and it's like with this, it's like just free form, man. Like whatever you guys want to talk about, like there's no, you know, there's no questions, there's no preconceived anything. It's just three friends. This is like the shit we'd be talking about sitting in the van driving around, right? Like that's the way I understand it.
It's incredible to be. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done any press with Mike in 5 years or more. So
yeah, it's been cool to
be doing it again, and to be doing it with you is the coolest part of it.
Yeah, no, so. And I'm honored to have you guys on, and that, you know, this was the outlet you chose, man. Like I appreciate it, and we keep it Boston, right? We keep it moving, keep it. I'm gonna die all night thinking about the Townie Llama, dude. Like I don't know, I never heard that. That's just making me fucking die. That should be the name of the song, man.
Yeah,
that's a bad idea. That's not a bad idea for a song name. I think you're onto something.
Yeah,
I like it.
Fuck yeah, man.
You know.
All right, so
yeah.
do you
and hopefully we see you at Brockton or for the Middle East show.
Before you got on, Mike already wrote me into having to go do drink tonight. So I'm at the Boston, I'm at the Cambridge show, and I'll be at the Brockton show too. Like, you know what I mean, to hang out. You know what I mean, and see what's going on. That's gonna be a killer show. I can't wait. I'll go to anyone I can. You know what I mean, because especially if it's the last ones. You know what I mean. So, yeah. Well, do you guys? Is there gonna? I know you guys are probably still getting everything together. Do you have a list of? Is there a list of all the shows up yet on any of the social media or the website or anything?
We don't have the full list yet because there's a couple of things that we haven't. Like there's a couple of things that we're going to announce as we come. But in terms of what's announced right now, we have the Middle East, and then we have the Brockton show, and that's what is that? August
9th.
29th.
Thursday night, yeah.
And then the 31st, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
August
a Saturday.
Is the Middle East, and then August 31st is Brockton. And then after that, we have the Flogamali Salty Dog Cruise.
Yeah.
That's in February. That's already sold out, unfortunately. And then after that, looks like we're going to do a little bit in Europe next year, and a little bit in maybe a week or so on the West Coast, and then finish up the whole thing with a Wreck the Halls in Boston. And yeah.
Yeah,
and
man.
then,
Boston needs another at least one more Wreck the Halls, because it's been something that's been missed. You know what I mean? That was always something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure, man. We missed it too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on. What are the social medias or like the websites or anything where people can go to find out more? Are you guys updating all the Street Dog stuff?
Yeah, we're doing the best we can with keeping that up to as up to date as we can. But yeah, Street Dogs Official will have any kind of officially announced shows and all the
Instagram. It'd be the best way to go.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'll have all that stuff in the show notes. So like I said, like not everyone's watching this. It's weird, man, because I don't know, like, you know, obviously I just started doing the video like a few episodes ago. So it's like always been an audio only. So I don't know how many people are actually listening versus watching. Actually, I know more people are listening because on Spotify we slay it, right? But like on YouTube, it's just building up because we just started doing video. So if you are one of the people listening, all this stuff will be in the show notes, so you don't have to remember it. Don't swerve around and get in an accident. Just when you get home and you get near a computer, you can pull up, and all the information will be there, all so that you can get in touch with these guys and see where all the shows are. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I'm gonna.
Appreciate you so much, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, man. Obviously, dude. Like I was looking forward to this as soon as you hit me up, Johnny. I'm gonna shut this. I'm gonna shut the recording off, but I'm not hanging up. So hold on 1 second.